I have recently created. It is to bring you real topics, real people, and real talk. This is going to be where we go live. I'm going to have a co-host every episode. We're probably going to do about 2 episodes a week. Just to give you a little rundown. Today my guest, he's going to talk to me today about, to have a discussion about, my name is Melissa Crutchler. I am the creator. I created the show to where they're getting the connection and the community to speak their mind, to get valuable insights and tips and tricks, to just become better human beings in total. Being the best person that you can possibly be, utilizing the tips, tricks, and tools and discussions through the topics that we're sharing for the show. It's not going to be perfect, so I'm going to what happened. She was there. Not a lot of people have heard. Like, it's something that's made up, urticaria, and she breaks out in hives and has to carry an EpiPen during cold season, which here is 6 months out of the year. What ended up happening is she had a substitute teacher, and that substitute teacher went to go send her outside. If you know anything about my daughter, and you don't because it's the first episode, she is very outspoken. She is a sweetheart. She is very non-confrontational. Forcing her is now sitting in the office with red cheeks. Hives have just started, and they've got her EpiPen on speed. Accident happened. Accidents happened all the time. Understand or know follow up to make sure cold day. If they had taken her swimming during the summer, this could have been potentially a life-threatening event. Gratefully, it wasn't, and she needs to do better. She needs to start listening to kids. And that's what this episode's all about, is children and kids. Now, as you can see, my oldest in the background, he's 19. And teens this day and age don't have the fundamental coping skills that they need to have to process emotion. For a lot of teens, now I have 2 teens myself, 3, just about 3. This is my first, and he's the... Okay. So when he was 4, we had and very trapped and controlled, and he decided when this happened, he was struggling a bit emotionally, right? Am I speaking for you? Struggling emotions. He was lonely. The relationship that he was looking forward to, moving in with his father, wasn't exactly what he thought it would be. And losing the relationship he had with me, the only constant he had for 14 years. Even though that relationship wasn't perfect, that was still a solid, foundation. So when he moved, what ended up happening is he started making new friends, getting into drugs, into a lot of trouble. Lost a friend to overdose. Had a lot of self-harm moments, and it got me thinking. And shortly after, the way I was as a person and the way I was as a parent, and I met up with a few other girls that were probably about his age. I think they were about 12, 13, and I started talking they were going through. And during that point in time, there were multiple suicides of high-profile individuals. Don't have the coping skills, the emotional, the mental coping skills to maneuver through life's changes, life's up and downs. When you're a child, or when you're an adult, you have children, I've said it, I've most likely said it to you, and you can confirm or deny, is, life is easy when you're a child. How many of us parents tell our children life is easy as a child? Have I ever said that to you?
Yeah.
My husband and I both have said that to him, right? Life is easy as a child. Now, how many of you watching the replay, catching live, how many of you think that life is easier for a child? Probably a good percentage, because at one point I thought that too. But I was wrong. I want you to think about it from a child perspective, or even from an adult perspective. You think, if I knew what I knew now then, how much different would my life be, right? You think about children when they hit 12. How often do they have to face changes? Their interests are changing. They're trying to figure out who they are. They're dealing with stresses in the family, because if you think, husband and wife, mother and father, stress added onto, or, this person bullying you, you got to brush it off and walk away. No matter how much we say that and how much we, try to encourage that, that's not, childhood is easy. More emotion. They start off not knowing who they are. They don't know how to cope. They don't have these skills. And then it turns around where you get to an adult. And how many adults do I have watching this replay or live stream, whichever it is? How many of you can say that you know exactly how to handle stress, exactly how to handle negative emotions, negative people, how to handle, if life blows up in your face and everything starts to change, what do? Do you run away from the negativity? Do you, start drinking every day after work? I'm going to have a glass of wine, right? Hoping, here comes my daughter. So would you, and this is going to segue into alcohol abuse, sex abuse, drug abuse, self-harm, even depression and long-term, it all ties down to our emotional abusive sex. It becomes that coping mechanism. That's how they cope. They don't know coping skills. They don't know how to process how they're feeling, so they turn to whatever it is going to take that. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's pretty accurate from a teen perspective?
Yeah.
So, do you have any thoughts, or the other person in the room, questions would you have for people who are young and aren't able to process and cope with how they're feeling? Do you have any suggestions?
14 and
One, communication. Communication is a huge one. Sister is even going through that now. His younger sister is 12. Being able to go to somebody that you trust and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Right? This is how I'm feeling and I don't understand it. Right? There are videos like this, and getting back to that, tips and tricks. One, acknowledging that there's an issue with how okay. Easy, right? Coping with
tattoo.
Yeah. Tattoo, but see, the tattoo in itself is also not necessarily toxic, because we just got matching tattoos, him and self-harm that he used to do created pain. So for you, getting a tattoo is similar to creating that pain, right? It takes that feeling away, or it takes parents, doesn't matter who you are. Number one is acknowledging the emotion itself. Acknowledge the emotion. First step, acknowledge it. Find something that makes you happy. So for kids, it could be listening to music, even adults. My happy place, and I know that he got this one from me, my happiest place is getting into a car, driving fast, music blaring, singing at the top of my lungs with my horrible singing voice, and just doing whatever I need to do. If I need to cry, I'll cry. If I need to punch something, I'll punch something. Expressing the emotion, right?
Yeah.
When you bottle that, change it or cope with it, it just keeps getting bigger, right? That's where the addictions come in. That's where the abuses come in, because you, at that point, right, or get rid of the pain that emotion was causing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you figured out alternatives. For a lot of women, it's being out in nature, playing with crystals. What do you think? Yeah. So there are coping mechanisms that we need to teach our children. As adults, a lot of coaches these days are focusing on doesn't matter. Multigender, I don't care who you are, what you subscribe to, I don't care. What I care about is you being happy, healthy, and in love with yourself. Because everything comes down to who you are inside. Why I'm an identity coach. So, what would you say to people?
I mean, talk to somebody, right? Understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and then go get rid of it. Go listen to music, scream at the top of your lungs.
Yeah.
Getting a high
Adrenaline rush, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, people can become addicted to going to the gym.
Yeah.
right? People can become addicted to dieting,
Yeah.
right? The addiction to sex, the addiction to drugs, the coping addictions, which are not healthy, and really won't make you tired after you go to the gym that you. Your sisters are just living outside.
I mean, yeah, you're exhausted after, but you know, you feel good. You feel like you just, you know, did something good for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like some self love, right? You give yourself. I feel my body feels exhausted, but my mind is like I feel good after all that adrenaline.
So not everybody has the ability to find somebody to talk to, right? Talking to somebody is great. Understanding the right person to talk to comes down to somebody who's not going to judge you based on their own beliefs, brush you off based on their own beliefs, and definitely not situationally shame you. I know that even in my own family, my children, I tell them they don't have it as bad, right? I'm not anymore, but I tell them they don't have it as bad as I used to. I grew up in a horrible situation, but at the same time, the way I grew up and the way that I mentally, physically, emotionally, and energetic. So I don't want to make these videos too long. I'm going to say about 20 to 30 minutes. Noise, I'm going to hurt you, child. Anyway. I know he is. These videos are going to be chocked full of value, chocked full of topics. I hope you enjoy these. Are not learning coping mechanisms. They're not learning healthy ways to become the best versions of themselves that they can be. Frees their mind and gives them a sense of purpose rather than bringing them down or keeping them quiet. Physical activity is great. Everything is great as long as it's not a toxic behavior. But find what works for you. And when it comes to advocating for children, just because you don't understand where they are anymore or understand how a situation that even you might have gone through, you're not going to handle it or valid to them. And I think that's what our children need, is to know that they're validated, that the things that they're going through are stressful for them, and that we're there to help them in any way that we possibly can. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be accused of lying. That's not okay. And I think we can do better. So, thank you for joining me for the first ever episode of Just Alive TV, giving you something to talk about, live TV. I will be live streaming a couple times a week. Each episode will have a different co-host with a different topic. Freedom, anything along those lines, or even many more. Join the communities. There is a Facebook community. There is Twitter, TikTok. There are multiple communities for Just Alive TV, and they will be through Just Alive TV. So that's GYSTTA livetv.com is actually the website. So go sign up for the community. It is absolutely free. We will be streaming live, like I said, twice a week. If you want a specific topic, we will be talking about that. I know upcoming we're going to be talking about the holidays, how you can maneuver through as an empath during the holidays, toxic family during the holidays. Lots of holiday topics coming up because it is almost the holidays. So lots of love. Let me know in the comments if you have glad to answer any questions that you have. Have a wonderful Thursday evening.